If I were to think of this as a game of baseball, I wanted to always hit like a gigantic home run, kind of like Otani. I didn't really care about.
Otani, baseball player.
Yes.
Yeah.
To be a world builder, you have to dream really, really big. Like you're reimagining an entire world of what something could be, and that takes a lot of persistence and perseverance, and a lot of, you have to have a very strong vision, and that was the only thing that I was interested in, really. So everything, just the phrase world builder to me just felt super right.
Okay, let's get started. Hello, okay.
Hello.
Thank you so much for attending our podcast again.
Thank you for having me again.
Yes, yeah, because I wanted to ask about the story. So you used to have a kind of not imposter syndrome, thanks to your career coach. So you found your original passion since you were little. Yeah, and then at the time, so I have two questions. Why you felt you need to find a career coach, and then how did you find the amazing coach? Yeah, could you please talk about this story?
Yeah, for sure. As for, well, maybe I'll answer the who first, the second question, which is who the career coach is. It is basically a coach that was recommended to me by me and my co-founder's mutual friend. Our coach had coached our mutual friend first, and then basically approached my co-founder asking if she wanted a coach, and then my co-founder asked me if I wanted a coach, and then I was like, well, why not? But so it was the original, the way it started was very like, circumstance, like because my co-founder asked me. But I think as I chatted with our career coach, one thing was pretty clear, that this is the first time that as a founder of a startup, I deviated from the standard path of going to school, doing a job, getting a good job, and then just making your way up the ladder in a company. I kind of deviated away from that, and then I think that was when I realized that I didn't know how to move forward or how to play this game, I suppose, or what I was even trying to do. So I think it required a little bit of introspection as to how I want to proceed, how I can best be myself. And I think a coach has really helped me discover who I am and why I'm doing this. I think very truthfully, when me and my co-founder started the company, obviously we had a dream, a vision that we wanted to do something using Web3 technology. But it was only later, after we started the company and a bunch of things happened, that I realized, oh, this is why doing this feels so right. It was like I reached the conclusion or the reason later versus like before we started the company. So it was kind of like, I guess the ordering was backwards, but the coach that we have right now has been very influential in me reaching that conclusion.
Amazing. So, okay, so you were like elementary school or junior high school, you were in Singapore?
Yes, Singapore.
I see. And then I can imagine it was so good education, like a safe place. And then I know you are one child, right?
Yes, only child.
And then you used to love kind of diving, swim into the swimming pool.
Oh yeah. There are a lot of.
I love this story. Please.
Yeah, it's for those of you who've been to Singapore, it's a very hot place. So many condos and buildings in Singapore, they just have a pool. Nothing luxurious. It's just like kind of a normal thing living in Southeast Asia. And so, the places that I lived in while I was in Singapore had a pool. And, as the only child, especially when I was younger, I didn't have any siblings to play with. So I would, entertain myself. And one of the things that I used to do was to go to the swimming pool in our condo and, role play a bunch of different things. So like I would have like a little water gun thing toy. I would pretend that it's like a submarine or a ship. And then I'd like, go in circles inside the swimming pool, pretending like, each, like the 25-meter mark was like one station, and like, where the stairs were going up the pool was like another station. And there were like people coming on and off the submarine, and I had like a story for each of them. And so I would just like basically, be in my own world, and hours would just go past. So I think as an only child, I figured out ways to entertain myself. When I went to middle school and high school, I started making a lot of friends, and I played like extracurriculars and sports, so there's less of that. But I do remember in elementary school, I would be very creative about how I would spend my time.
Yeah, and then if I remember correctly, through the conversation with your coach, you remember this amazing story of your childhood. Right?
Yes. I think the gist of this conversation was that, after middle school and throughout high school, university, and my first job out of college, I was just going through the motions of what society expected of me, which was to do a good job in school, to get good grades, go to a good company, do a good job, get paid well. And I wasn't like spectacular, I would say. I was pretty good at it. I wouldn't say I was like a genius or anything, but like I knew what to do, better than average, I suppose. But it felt like just going through the motions without me really thinking deeply about why I was doing it. It was just easier to go with the flow and not really think about it, just turn your brain off. But then, once I founded a company with my co-founder, and we were put in a situation where everything is just brand new, there are no rails to follow, then everything just became confusing, all the way to the point where I questioned, like, who am I? What is my identity? Why am I here? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And then, talking many times with my coach about this kind of led, and she asked really good questions as well, like eventually led us to remembering this childhood memory of mine where I would spend a lot of time just creating a world inside my head, and how much fun I had doing it. And that's effectively, in a very different way, but also similar way, what I was doing by building a startup. So I think that was the biggest unlock for me, and it brought everything together as to why it felt so right to be building a company.
Amazing! Thank you to the coaching and the conversation with you, and then this original idea, kind of concept, world builder is connecting to what you are doing right now. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. It is huge. Also, I would, whenever people would ask, why are you doing a startup? Like what keeps you going? And even when you're doing a startup, there's so many kinds of startups and companies. They're very, safe, very revenue focused companies, all the way to it could be disruptive, but also 10, 20 years away. There's a whole variety of things that you could work on. So just doing a startup is not fully encompassing of what you could do. But I think when people ask me why am I in Web3? Why am I working with blockchain technology? It seems so far in the future, or has no mass adoption use cases. Why are you doing this? And obviously I had my reasons for why I believe in technology. I think I talked about in the previous video.
Yeah.
But one of the other things, just coming from a personal perspective, which is if I were to think of this as a game of baseball, I wanted to always hit a gigantic home run, kind of like Ohtani, I didn't really care about
Otani, baseball player.
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't really want to like do just like a 2-base hit or just like a regular hit. I just wanted to like hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
And that's just like the kind of person I am. And so I think this like unlock of like world builder really hit home for me, because now I was able to see why I felt this way about wanting to hit it out of the park and to do something big. Because to be a world builder, you have to dream really, really big. Like you're reimagining an entire world of what something could be, and that takes a lot of persistence and perseverance and a lot of you have to have a very strong vision, and that was the only thing that I was interested in, really. So everything, just the phrase world builder to me just felt super right. Now let's see, given that understanding or this new perspective about myself, let's see how much I can do. But
yeah, I love that, because like to make a startup, especially in the US, everyone can make a company, but our, what can I say, journey is not like a sprint, like a marathon, right? Like a kind of long term, and then we have to keep consistently, and then keep going. That's why we need to have strong, super vivid vision, mission, and value. Yeah, and then like in the long-term marathon, sometimes people from outside say, "Hey, why are you doing nowadays? This is popular, so you have better to change like that." And then, am I okay? Like many people feel kind of anxious or, like doubt myself. But we have better to have like strong motivation. Why we have to do it? Why we have to achieve this goal?
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are there are types of companies or founders that I really admire. For example, like in Japan, there's this company called Loop. It's like the scooter company.
Yes.
They have it in the U.S. as well. It's called. It was, I guess, Bird was one. Lime is another one. There's a bunch like mobility companies, but I think what is cool about those companies is like I would be walking around San Francisco or LA or even Tokyo, and I would see just like regular people on these scooters, and some of them having like multiple people are on it. I don't think you're supposed to do that, but like people are having fun, and like it's definitely like part of people's like daily behavior now, which is pretty cool. And so like building a company that like changes consumer behavior, or like augments something that people were doing before but just like so much easier to do now, impacts a lot of people, and impacts maybe not just people in like a very specific niche or like an area, but impacts like a wide range of different people. I think those are the companies that I really admire. And we at our company Deform have a very strong vision that the way that companies and consumers and different ecosystem players interact with each other can be heavily incentive aligned using blockchain technology, tokens, like think of equity, and that's just going to be the norm. And I think when that world vision comes true, every single creator, every single regular person who wants to be a creator can get involved and make a living for themselves. And I think that would be very impactful, and it's a world that I want to live in. So that's why it's a long ways away, but that's why we continue working on this.
I love that. Last question. So, thanks to your coach, you got great motivation, and then, of course, you share to your team member. How was their reaction?
I think sometimes like your teammates or your closest friends, they know you better than you know yourself, and so when I kind of after that conversation, I went directly to them because my meeting was in the office. I went directly to my teammates and I kind of talked them through like how this unlock of the phrase world builder, and to them it was like not a surprise. They're like, yeah, that makes sense. Like that sounds exactly right. That sounds like very in line with how we see you, which was pretty cool. And it's very reaffirming as well.
I see. Great. Okay. Thank you so much for your story, Kei-san.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me again.
Yes, I would love to interview you again soon.
Yeah, anytime.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye bye.